Hi, welcome into my channel. This channel is about astronomy, science, physics. So I discover many things, that the Big Bang is false, many things. But to not sound like ludicrous and crazy, I made a list. This is my second list where I'm taking one a guy and explaining or against him with this guy or with him some wrong physics, because the Big Bang is based on some physics. So if I'm telling you that the Big Bang is false, so that's why you must explain some physics why the Big Bang is false. So I explained to you why I'm doing what I'm doing. Okay. So now Leonard Susskind, known physics guy, professor or something. Okay, so I don't have anything against these guys. I already made some commentary on other YouTubers, but the physics is wrongly understood. Okay, I'm telling you that the equation do not speak by themselves. You must have some philosophical reasoning beyond the to understand. If you see this are the equations, but you do not understand them if you do not conceptualize them like in a philosophical manner. This is mechanical movements, and this is short telling you why the physics is wrong. The both of them are for the mechanical movement, one made by Newton, one by Leibniz. Okay, but in this video I want to tell you with Leonard Susskind, because he is explaining very nice how the black holes work. Okay, so I want to explain with him, not against him, that the black holes are false. So on short, what he says.
Okay, I can of course just tell you the obvious. Black holes are the most dense, concentrated objects that you can make. When a star dies, it just collapses into a black hole.
So on short, what he said is that the light could not escape, and everybody tells you this. Okay, like a collapsed star, a dead star. I don't know why the stars died. Okay, but you see, like the light died or something like this. Okay, but now let me tell you that the black holes could not form. Okay, before I will tell you this, I will put another section on Leonard Susskind, because he is explaining very nice with an example. Like you see, I move this like my cup. Everybody has this, and you will see that it will be a swirl here, like a swirl, and in this way he is explaining a black hole. If you put something here, it will float near the center or farther than the center. So first, I let you hear the Leonard Susskind. He's explaining with sound. Imagine that you go beyond the speed of sound. You will not hear somebody, he says. Okay, so now imagine that you go beyond the speed of light. But these mathematical things, this is the easy trick. You put +1. What is the speed of sound? 1000 kilometers. You put +1. This is the mathematical ways to go wrong about this. Okay, so he is saying about sound, it is easy to put +1 plus light 300,000 kilometers per second +1, but can you obtain this? Can be obtain a black hole that will absorb light? So now listen what he has to say, and now then you came back and I will explain further.
But let me give you a picture of a black hole, which I think is more helpful in understanding what's going on. It's my favorite picture. I probably like it so much because of my former existence as a plumber. Imagine an infinite big flat lake. It's not very deep. It's only a foot or two deep. It's infinite. It goes on in every direction forever and ever. And there's creatures living in this lake. I call them polywogs. And they swim around and they communicate. They can't see. All they can do, they're blind. All they can do is hear. and they communicate with each other. They quote each other by sound and so forth. And the lake just sits there, a perfectly nice, healthy environment for them. But right at the center of the lake, there's a drain pipe, and the drain pipe empties out below onto some very sharp and deadly rocks. Okay? The water flows into the drain pipe. Very, very far away, the water moves slowly. As you get closer and closer to the drain pipe, it moves faster and faster. And now imagine that the water is being sucked out so fast that at some point around this drain pipe, the velocity of the water gets to exceed the speed of sound. Now remember, these guys can only communicate by sound. They can't swim faster than sound. All right? So there's some place, which is some circle around the drain pipe, which is a point of no return. A point of no return. Once they pass that point, not only can't they swim out, but they can't even communicate out. Sound can't get out. They can't get out. They're isolated, and what's more, because the speed of the water exceeds the speed at which they can swim, they're doomed. They're going to crash on those rocks below. That's the end.
So if you listen now, he says with this swirl, okay? I have some video from the internet for you to visualize better this. There is a swirling water, exactly like this, okay? It is not much bigger deal than this, okay? A swirl. And I put for you this swirl. The guy throws a pumpkin in water. It's the bigger stuff, and you can visualize better. And you understood why Leonard Susskind said, okay?
On October 18th of 2021, a couple watching the tides in an Oregon bay discovered that a mysterious whirlpool was forming right before their eyes. After a few minutes, the couple had a curious idea to see what would happen if they threw something into it, and the result was just as incredible as you might imagine.
Get it.
Horrible throw.
It's all right. It might float into it.
Just barely.
But now, watch this and consider this, okay? I made this arrow. This arrow, when you spin something, you see the area of hitting force varies. It's bigger here and smaller than there. So if you rotate this, it means that it will hit you with a lesser force here and a bigger one closer towards the center. That's why when you go beyond this world, we will not attract you in the middle. So watch this guy.
On October 18th of 2021, a couple watching the tides in an Oregon bay discovered that a mysterious whirlpool was forming right before their eyes. After a few minutes, the couple had a curious idea to see what would happen if they threw something into it, and the result was just as incredible as you might imagine.
Get it.
Horrible throw.
It's all right. It might float into it.
Just barely.
So this guy throws a pumpkin in the water that it has a swirl. What is complete? This is adding to what Leonard Susskind says. The force decreases with area. What does this mean? When you go further than the swirl, it is less strong to rotate you, okay? So this is what it means that the mass decreases with distance. If the Earth acceleration is 9.8 meters per second square, you understand that in each second will fall towards their 10 meters. 1 second, 10 meters, 1 second, 10 meters square. It will accelerate and the mass will not decrease, but this force field will decrease. What does this mean? You see, towards the center of this world, it is bigger, the force, but the force dissipates in the water. dissipates in the water. So there is a maximum distance, and the swirl does not have power to aggranate you and to go towards the center, to pull you inwards. Okay, so now let me explain to you like this.
But just think about one of these polywogs floating on its back down the drain. When it passes the point of no return, it doesn't. There's nothing special there. There's no signpost there. There's no crunch that happens to it. Unknowingly, it just drifts past the point of no return, and it's doomed. Okay? The rocks at the bottom are the analog of the singularity. It's the place where if you fall in, you get killed.
That's the center of the black hole.
That's the center of the black hole. The horizon is the point of no return. You can't see anything inside, or hear in this case. You can't hear anything from the inside if you're outside, because sound just can't make it out.
And a black hole, the analogy is light.
Is of course light. That's the nature of a black hole horizon. It's a point of no return.
They believe the mass produces gravity. This is the first mistake that they do. This rock does not have gravity. Mass doesn't. It is not a producing factor of gravity. Gravity is a force equal mass times acceleration. This is what they are tricking themselves. But so this is why I explain to you physics to understand it, and I'm not crazy, and I am speaking correctly physics to understand that the black holes do not exist, and you cannot obtain a black hole. Okay, a longer video, but you must understand that is against the black hole. Once this will fall, many things will fall. You do not understand all the law, all the singular cases like this. Force equal mass times acceleration. But when you have two forces, two masses, you have these vectors, compounding of the vectors. These two vectors, the vectors are quantities. So you put two forces, two masses, two acceleration. And the force will comport one towards another and against one towards another in opposite direction. In many ways you compound the vectors. Okay, so this now they are believing. So this is a single case because you put g instead of f, and you put small g, the acceleration of the system. And now they are believing that the mass, this mass from this equation produces the force, and they do not understand force of all this. Force equal mass times acceleration. Okay, so they do not understand that this rock does not have any force. When I hit with it, has a force. You consider the mass, let's say 1 kilogram, and I hit it with what force? It varies. What is the speed? If I hit slow, the force that I will hit is going to be smaller, and I will hit faster. So this rock has different forces, many forces. So now you imagine that you pull the brakes on Earth and you stopped it. The Earth will move it like this and around the sun. Okay, so you understand now that if you increase the speed around the sun, if it makes like right now a full circle with 365 days. If you make it slower, let's say that in 400 days will make a near the Earth, the gravity will decrease, because the gravity is a movement. You must understand all of this, okay? So the gravity is a movement. If you do not have that swirl, you do not have gravity, because it must be some field that swirls to put something in it to go around. Okay, so now imagine this rock suspended will go nowhere. It must be aggregated, pulled in some movement. So the mass does not produce the force nor the movement. So if you now understand the gravity, it is a movement, a force that goes circular and has a quantity per volume like this. It decreases with distance. Because this is normal, I've told you, it is not be normal that the edge will hit you with the same power like this. So this force is calculated by area. So it has like slapping power. It slaps you less harder here, but much harder here. So with more force, it slaps you with a force. It is not attraction, it is a perpendicular vector just because it is a centripetal and centrifugal force, like this. And around the sun, you compound this vector and you obtain 9.8 meters per second square. The 365 days of the speed, if you have a radius of 150 million kilometers, the distance, you make a circle, you put 365 days, okay, and you find out the circumference or the what is the kilometers that the Earth goes around the sun. So you obtain a speed because must be a speed per second, okay? So they do not understand that if you stop the Earth does not have a gravity anymore. The gravity is a circulating field and a moving field. If you speed the rotation, you will speed you see like this, like you will speed up the gravity, the centripetal forces and centrifugal forces. So if you make slower this, the same, you understand, the same. So now, what Einstein asked himself, I will tell you all the story for you to understand. What Einstein asked himself, what is the speed of a connection? Einstein asked himself. You see, if you put this rock, you know that it is the power of slapping here. What is the power to slap you? The field, because it has a force on mass. And you put the rock down towards the earth, the slapping force is bigger. But Newton did not ask himself what is the speed of the emission. Like this rock emits something like magnetic fields. It is emitting from a magnet. Newton said only that the force varies with distance. Mass said Newton, you can put it in a scale at a greater, it is less heavier on the top of the mountain because this field decreases like this, exactly like this. You see, I put a triangle here. So it is the power, slapping power, that it is decreasing with area. And now to come back to the black holes, okay? So you understand, I know physics, okay? This is the gravity, and they do not know that all guys did not understand Newton, and they are believing that the sun is producing, but the Newton did not say this. The Newton says if you have a speed around like this, constant speed around the sun, you know the speed indirectly, and you know the g-force calculated by Galileo Galilei. The sun does not push the earth. But if you treat like a crane, like this crane, if you want to understand that it is a relation with force on the sun, like this, let's say my hand being the sun and this being it is all these cases varying with area, and you know that the sun is pushing and pulling and hitting, but the earth also exactly like this. In example, this copper piece hits my hand, hits it with a force, mass and a speed, and I hit with this spring, this wire. But you see that this makes a circle, exactly mathematical circle. My hand produces in this case, but they are believing that the sun produces the force of gravity, like, and the earth sticks to the sun, but it is not like this. Knowing that earth has 365 days around, like it makes this circle. This force being a quantity per area, like I showed to you, that's triangle, it hits with a field. And Einstein asked himself, who produces the field and what's the speed of connection? If the earth produces this speed, if the earth, you see, because in this case my hand produces. You understand? But this is the case when my hand does not produce, it has a mass, does not produce any movement. You see, my hand does not produce any movement, nor this piece. So the mass does not produce the movement or the gravity, because the gravity is a particular case of circular movement. So the pure mass this mass does not produce any movement, my hand produces. So in this case, nor the sun produces the movement of the earth, nor the earth produces the movement of the sun. There is a relation between them with force. To maintain the earth at the constant distance from the sun, you must understand, knowing that this decreases with distance 9 meters per second square, you suppose that the sun has the same density and the same law, and will decrease by distance towards the sun exactly in a rate by the earth. But you suppose these things, and you understand the sun has a spin, okay? So the mass does not produce the force of hitting the earth, but if it is producing it similar like earth produces by the density or mass. So if you treat now a system when you have two bodies like this, okay, Newton says this is the force equal mass time acceleration that in this case my hand produces. But there could be a case that my hand is static, like the sun, and another body to revolve around my hand. So in that case, my hand being a static mass, and the earth and another body is produced like a car moving in circles. So now the mass of the car does not produce the circular movement around the sun. It has an engine. So now if you want to understand this field has a similarity with the field of Earth, and you treat the same mass and densities, the field must decrease from the sun in similar manner with the Earth. And in this field, it is a rotating field of force. But Newton does not bother himself to say who will produce it. It is a field that decreases, it will slap you, like he slaps you, like with hand, because the force is a hitting force. And you see that is a vector that goes in all directions towards like this in this spring. So it has a quantity and it's a hitting vector like this, like when you cut something. And it is a constant, but it has, if you maintain this speed around my hand, it is the same force, the same speed. If you speed it up, you increase the fields, you increase the force field. But I'm telling you, gravity, the sun, if it is going to be a simple mass like this, will not produce this field. It is a relation between the mass of the sun and this field, rotating field. And Einstein asked himself now, what is the speed of the connection? Because if the earth is emits it. What is the speed of the connection or the surface of the earth and this? What long does it take to travel this field, gravity, or this rock to slap it? Because it is clearly a force field with area, because Galileo calculated as 9 meters per second, that at the speed of 10 meters per second that will fall. So if you understand there is a slapping force here, it will dislodge this rock and will bring it towards the earth. But when you go beyond this 9 meters per second square, the force field does not have power to slap you, to bring you down towards the earth, because you reach in two ways. You can escape to go back towards the earth. In one way, to go beyond this 9 meters per second square, so like a plane has a speed that beats this. The earth could not have the sufficient power to bring it back again, okay, the rock. Or in another way, to go beyond this the power of the force field. You go beyond this tip of this circle. So the earth does not have power to slap you, to bring you. This is the variation of area, okay? So now, what they did wrong, okay? If you understand, I'm against the black holes, the Big Bang. I want to make you understand that I'm logical, okay? So Einstein said, what the speed of the connection, like this, to be slapped, this rock to be slapped, to be brought on Earth. You know that this is by area 9 meter per second, a force. You put it here, in force. Mass 1 kilogram, and acceleration of the Earth, or G-force. And you understand the force has a quantity of hitting this mass, 1 kilogram mass. But Newton do not know who will produce this, because he exactly says like this. You cannot see it, because you cannot see it. It is this wire, but unseen wire, so that it keeps this copper around my hand, okay? So I'm telling you, okay? If you understand me, that's swirling and stuff. And now to reach a black hole, I'm telling you that black hole that do not exist, but I told you to explain to you gravity, that to understand that I'm not crazy. And now let's try to create a black hole. So first of all, to reach to a black hole, you must have a star, they say, to collapse. But the collapse, now you understand that you will catch them if they say that it is attraction, because this rock will not collapse. It will collapse only if you spin it. If you do not spin it, this rock does not have any gravity. So it is not a force of attraction per mass, a hitting force, a field force if you rotate it. And now Einstein asked, he said, what's the speed of connection? Because we know that it decreases and increases, the speed of connection between the Earth and it is something like this, like go from the Earth to the rock. And in this case of the swirling water, the medium is the water. So in this case of swirling water, the medium is the water. So they trick themselves, presupposing that this is an empty space, void space. They superimpose many things to trick themselves mentally. So this field, it is the water like. And you know what is the quantity. You see, if you spin this in a swirl, you know the density of the water and the decreasing of force in the water, because the water absorbs the movement from the center, or a swirl, absorb it until it is produced not anymore. So now they are tricking themselves that it is void. And what is this? What is this field? If it is void, because this field must have force, mass. So this field that it is hitting the Earth to rotating has mass. So it is something, it is not void. It is something, a field like water that varies, the force in it varies with distance. So now they are taking themselves, presupposing that it is empty space, this void. So there is not void, there is a field, a force field, identical like this water. But Newton did not know what is the force field. What is the water? Does not matter. Has a quantity per volume, per distance. And the sun, they are tricking themselves that is producing this force. But the sun, I'm telling you that it sits in this field. And this field is electromagnetic with mass, light, and many radiation field that has a mass quantity. Because the sun will not have the power, like they pretend that they have calculus. The sun does not have power to maintain Pluto in orbit. 3.7 billion miles or 6 billion kilometers. You'll see they'll make this triangle. It will not have power, the sun, to maintain Pluto in orbit. So the field comes across all our solar system, and it is not produced by the sun. And they are not knowing what is producing this field. And I'm telling you that our galaxy produces the back ends of our galaxy in convergence in the middle, because they do not believe that our sun is the middle of the galaxy. They trick themselves in many ways, okay? So let's go back to understand how a black hole will form. First of all, we must have the star. And the star, they are saying that it is formed through hydrogen. And I'm telling you, You take hydrogen in a laboratory condition, only hydrogen, you produce light from it. You will falsify all the science that we know. You cannot produce light only from hydrogen. So now the star that you have prior this to be a black hole, it could not be made from hydrogen. This is the fourth thing. Before you reach to have a black hole, you must have the star to collapse in a black hole, okay? So if you have a mass that you will collapse to bend the light, from what is made? Because from hydrogen we cannot produce light from the start. You can light, but you cannot. You take only hydrogen, produce light. So if you can gather a cloud, and by the way, a cloud of hydrogen in space will be liquid, not gas. You see, this matrix at minus 253 degrees Kelvin becomes liquid. So you have literally a liquid that does not produce light, like an ocean at night. So you have this liquid hydrogen and can be gathered in the sphere. It can be by the properties of not of gravity, because you cannot have gravity so it is not a force that goes in the center in a cloud. You have the cloud of hydrogen. It is not a force that will converge. Let's say that the cloud is cubic. It's like a cube. It is not a force that will converge in the center. So let's say that the cloud is a cube, okay? It is not a cube of hydrogen. It is not a force that will go in the center. Only if you have a centrifugal motion. So if you spin this. But now who will produce a movement in a cloud? What? The mass does not produce the force and the movement by itself. Nor an ocean, no matter how big it is, you can put to be still, like this coffee. You'll be a cloud of hydrogen that cannot produce light and will be steady. Only if there's electric circuit somehow, and it will come in this cloud and somehow will begin to rotate the cloud. An electricity, like an electromagnetic movement, but why it is produced in this cloud? So this cloud of hydrogen must have two atoms, like if you have an atom like with different electron on a strata, you understand that is this atomic gravity of an atom is false. But let's say, how do you understand at this hour? If you have two atoms of hydrogen, like with different electron on the strata, and you have a cumulus of a mass like here and another mass like there with an electrons, you can have some circuit. In this case, not necessarily, because if you want to produce in this cloud movement, you must have a circuit, an electric circuit. So if you have an electric circuit through this cloud, must be produced by two atoms like iron and copper, something like this. So through this hydrogen cloud, you must have a way, a pathway, a speedway. How do you say, like a street of electricity. So this electricity must flow, but not any way in this rotating field. So what is producing a rotating field of electricity inside the cloud of hydrogen? What? Because only this rotational speed will produce gravity. You understand? So now, even though, let's say that somehow you obtain this only from hydrogen, a rotating speed, you understand that that you do not have light. You do not have light. It is going to be a rotating field, let's say electric field. You do not see it. It will be a rotating field that without light in a hydrogen cloud. So now, how do you ignite this to produce a star from hydrogen? You understand that I know. You cannot produce, you must have a potential difference. The water, a 6 level, you must have 7 levels to produce electricity. Like in hydrogen, oxygen, you must produce, like in a scale, Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, because light has 7 colors, basic colors, like this, trigonometrical, like in a circle, you see, like notes, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, si, do, you see, like this. So this is obtained hydrogen being 1, oxygen being 8. It is producing a circulating field, and this is emitting light. From hydrogen, if you have, no, you cannot produce light. So you have this field, rotating field, let's say that you have it in electromagnetic field that rotates inside a cloud of hydrogen. And this will gather together in a sphere, because a liquid hydrogen could stay in cube manner, or an unordered manner like a cloud or night cloud. So you obtain this sphere of hydrogen that it is rotating, only then you have something similar that you are believing that is the star. But still you cannot ignite it to produce light, because this field must be a difference of potential between a 7 scale that you produce light at the hydrocentral light with a power plant, like with water rotating bobbin with copper and iron rotating like this to produce electricity in a circle. Okay, so now let's say that you obtain somehow light. You must understand that all of this was created. They do not know how other atoms were formed, because now they want to say that this rotating cloud that becomes a star produce light, and I've told you that you cannot. This rotating cloud that becomes a star made from hydrogen, now through gravity, you see how many things wrong does gravity, because they do not understand. With this centripetal force that in the rotating field of the hydrogen is going to fuse to make copper. So but not understanding the force of gravity, they are putting in back of it everything. The gravity produces light, the gravity produces the fields, the gravity produces the Big Bang, the collapses of the star, the gravity makes everything, because they do not understand gravity. Even though I explained to you many times the gravity in my channel, that's why. So I'm not against Leonard Susskind, but maybe somebody will hear me, because this is the benefit for the whole humanity. So now you have in this star, you cannot produce from hydrogen iron. They say that this star is going to burn, like in the old time, like you burn some gases to produce light. When you burn the hydrogen to make copper, you must understand that has a superior strata there. So you cannot, if you fuse hydrogen to make the copper, you have now absorption of energy. What I'm telling you right now, if you eject light, you lose energy from a system, like from these bulbs. That's why you pay. Okay, you eject light, you eject energy. So when you eject light through some miracle by fusing hydrogen, you cannot fuse in a superior atom, because the superior atom, conform to the correct science, if it is not correct in the Mendeleev, has energy, more energy. So when you fuse the carbon, hydrogen in carbon, it must be an absorption of light, not an emission. Absorption, because the copper supposes many strata of electrons. So now you cannot have emission of light fusing through gravity. That's a simple force of rotation varying with area that goes inward to fuse copper from hydrogen. When you fuse it, you take electrons from, if you can make this. But there's no current science that will fuse hydrogen in copper or iron. And they invented all this craziness. Then they say that these blocks, let's say this rotating sphere of hydrogen, full of with stuff. Now inside it, they're creating rocks. They are crazy, okay? Or copper inside the rock, the hydrogen fuses it. So if now they are saying there are two possibilities. I explained to you that you cannot have these stars to fuse in a black hole. Now they are saying that there are two possibilities. I'm not feeling myself straight, you know by now. And I'm saying like a tea science or a coffee science. I always have here a tea or a coffee. So now if you have this is a soluble tea, coffee with milk. Okay. So now if you have this So now if you have this sphere that has elements in it, let's say like few kilograms of copper, iron, many things like this, they say there's two cases and will explode. This is a supernova. They balances again gravity with it. It balances gravity with this, and then will explode, this supernova. Or in another case, the poor guy collapses to produce a black hole. But now let me tell you, all this I explained to you to understand that nor the case is possible. First of all, supernova you cannot obtain from this. What they're tricking you with gases. You must understand why. You see, if you have this cup of coffee in space, let's suppose that it is liquid. When you're going to spin it, there's atomical connection even if though it's a liquid, and will break up in two pieces, like you divide some cells in biology. They will break up in two pieces, separate coffee pieces. And you know the connection but by volume of the coffee of any liquids. So if you have this sphere made from hydrogen, you spin it, you will cut it in half before you obtain any speed that will break up the light to bring it back. You understand? So that's why they are tricking you to not understand. You cannot make a cohesion in the cloud of hydrogen to produce a star. You cannot produce from side that to break it, then to collapse the light. So you understand that they're saying many things, okay, wrong. So now if you rotate this, from what is made, you cannot produce light if you have only two atoms. So you have the atom, so the star's not made from hydrogen. And let's say you rotate it. Somehow that field that came through this hydrogen cloud that produces the spin of the star. Our sun is rotating like this. Our sun is rotating, but it's not moving anywhere. It's rotating only, and it is static. So now if you have a star that is not rotating, you understand you do not have gravity. But now if you rotate the star, have a rotation like Earth. Earth has a full rotation, 24 hours from here to here, 24 hours will make a full rotation. Now this is a day and a night, no? So the sun the same has a spin. The sun rotates, that's why it has some gravity, okay? But it sits in a field. It is not sufficient to explain to you the mass. It sits in a field. The Earth and the Sun, all the planets, that it is not produced by this. The planets act like a transistor maybe, or like this energy converge towards the planets, like in a transistor. In the Sun, the same case. But it is not produced by them. It is by backgrounds of our galaxy. But I will get there. So now, how do you speed up? Let's say that you have this star, okay, and let's go back to the cloud. The cloud is spinning, okay, like this, and you obtain a star somehow from a cloud of hydrogen. I don't know how, but if you want to lie, you can lie. So you obtain a star and it produces light. I don't know how from hydrogen, but they know this, okay? So you produce a rotating star to have gravity, to treat gravity. The star must have a constant speed. You cannot say that now it goes, let's say that has the day like Earth, 24 hours, the star makes a full spin. Now you cannot have some laws to say today the star spin with 24 hours like Earth, and tomorrow 27 hours, after a week 20, because you must explain what is the cause of speeding. If the Earth will spin in 24 hours and tomorrow by 23 hours, 22 or 10 hours a day, 5 hours a night and 5 hours a day. You must explain what speed up the Earth. What is the cause of speed up? It must be a motor to speed up the rotation of the Earth. Similarly, if you have this star that will become a black hole, what is the motor to speed up this? You see, I rotate this and I rotate it faster because all this is correlated, the force and the force space over time You understand? So what is the intrinsic motor in the side of star to accelerate it, to have gravity? That a force to be a rotating force like field, like I showed to you, that swirling of the water, and what is going to be the accelerating force? Because you have an acceleration, let's say 30 meters per second, 40 meters per second, any acceleration that you want to have a day like this of the sun, or a full rotation, no matter the big it is, okay? So if you want to collapse the light, you must make this whirl faster than the speed of light. So this must have 300,000 kilometers per second in rotation. So if you have a star that is rotating with 30 kilometers per second, let's say, how you increase from 30 kilometers per second at the 300,000 kilometers per second at the speed of light to equal it? How can you reach the speed of light to equal it? I mean, to make this world that nothing could collapse, that like Susskind explained, that this pumping to fall and to not go, this pumping being a light. What will we increase? If you increase the speed, you increase the consumption of the material. So what is the engine of acceleration? How can you accelerate that you have some emission like this? What is going to be the motor of acceleration? And thus have somebody on the paper to show me, if you have a mass, spherical mass from hydrogen, how can you speed up the mass of the hydrogen through internal properties, not from a side, like to pull, like with your hand, the stars to move it. The star itself must increase the speed of the rotation to surpass the speed of light. You understand? So what is the rate of consumption of combustible? Like, what do you have? Gasoline. What do you have to speed it up? To speed it like you have, let's say, some engine, rocket engines. The star will increase the the emissions. The emission will be increased to swirl until will be the speed of light. Anybody has something like this. So from a theoretical point of view, you can say that this swirl will be greater than the speed of light. So the light could not, but can you obtain this swirling in what medium and with what material? What's the rate of ejection and things like this? And now let me tell you about another thing. You see, light, it is trigonometrical, it goes in a circle. You see? Light has an electromagnetic properties. So you have a surface like this surface, you can make light to go on it. If I shine a light on that spinning lake that I showed to you, I shine a light like this on that spinning lake. The surface will take the light and will make like this, and will go swirl. The atoms who absorb light will go and make circles. So you can make light to go circles, and it's easy, like this. But you have to have an electromagnetic surface like this, and the light will go around with the speed of light. Like you take a laser and you put it around the earth like a satellite. You emit it by a satellite and another one, and this fast you make like a satellite from light. So you can obtain the speed of light with the light, okay, of the emission to go with swirling. But how do you can collapse this? And this is their tricking themselves, that the pure space, that's why I told you that you have to have a medium. In a medium, it is a force by area, like that's why it's a logic, this video, okay? So now if you do not have this water, they are saying that it's empty space, and somehow through the equation of Einstein, empty space bends. They do not understand that Einstein uses curved geometry, only that the light is comports in curved manner, okay? So there you see this long video, but everybody can say you can collapse light, and you understand that the black holes are false. So now if you have some material, you must understand this. You know the breaking point of this. The centripetal and centrifuge force will act like a scissor. It will go in the middle like a scissor and will break up this rock in two. In other way, if you know the density of the Earth and atomical medium boundings of the atoms, when you speed up the rotation of the Earth, you will break up in two. But at a known, if you presuppose the density of the atoms at a known force. So this star now cannot producing from hydrogen only light. You understand that if he has some atoms like already in it, copper, iron and things like this, a medium density of atomic boundings will give you the speed when the star will break in two. So this star, now it will not explode. You have some speed really cut it in two, and this infirms even the supernova. The star will divide in two, and it is possible that will function. It will be from some material will break up until you form two stars, like you divide a star, okay? At a known, but you cannot reach the speed. And why explosion? Why will explode? Will be cut in half. Will be some violent process, like you imagine when you split the Earth in two with the centripetal force that go like a scissor in the middle. It is a violent process. Maybe that, but this centripetal rotation that you already have will gather some blocks together, okay? So why explosion? That to trick you. Why explosion? Why explosion? Okay, so it will break up, the star will break up, but we could start to be functioning. So what is the evidence for a supernova like this? An emission of light extinct like this, or increase of the light, like few light and then much more light, like you increase the volume of the light or the luminosity. But this is not proving that the star exploded. This is their proof. And some clouds, but okay, you must understand that it is proving that you vary the field, not that the star exploded. And now you understand that if you have a density per volume, you cannot break the laws of physics. You can say that you know that this is the tricks that they use. This has a density, but when you can make the mathematical density to be twice bigger, but you cannot obtain it. To press this rock to make it at a half dimension, because the pressure is a force to pressure the rock to double the density of this rock. But they do not understand that the faster you make it like this, the force necessary to collapse this will go to infinite on the graphic. So you cannot collapse this rock, you will need infinite force. This in this way appeared like this. You feel a teaspoon with big densities like neutron stars, all the crazy inventions that they have. So you cannot produce a black hole, you understand? You cannot produce the star that produces a black hole, and from the star, if you have it, the star must have two atoms at least, the difference of potential to produce light, that is a circulating field, and this circulating field, if you want to speed it up, you must find what engine would speed up this and to increase to be the speed of light. Okay, so I'm telling you that prior to reach the speed of light, any known material will break, nor even the half of the speed of light, and will break. A big video on our video, but I do not say that I am crazy and I'm telling you that the black holes do not exist and the wrong understanding of gravity. So the sun does not have the power to maintain Pluto, Jupiter in orbit. Every body has a converging force by mass, if you understand, that decreases. You suppose that all the densities are similar on the material. Let's say that Probably Neptune is made from water, and Jupiter is a big ocean. They say the gas, but it is made from water, I'm telling you. So let's say that has a spin around the sun. You cannot obtain from the same sun all the movements. You have this rock, okay? You have the sun. Why the sun makes them move, all the planets? You have all these planets. You see, Mars, I wrote them here. Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, all the planets until you reach 6 billion kilometers, so 3.7 billion miles, okay? So if the sun will comport like this, will decrease the attraction at 6 billion kilometers is Pluto. What is the force to slapping the Pluto to maintain in orbit? And why they have different speeds? Why? The same mass that stays in center, the sun produces, and I'm telling you that the sun does not produce this force. And they are pretending they are calculated by the mass of the sun and area. But this is everything that they made to trick you, to suppose that as an empty space, through this empty space, these gravity waves are like magic, but these gravity waves are a concentrated force field that slaps the planets, inclusive the sun, and the sun has a spin. So the way the sun is rotating with a speed, you understand that this force field is all over the solar system, and it is produced by the beacons of galaxies. And now I'm telling you the shocking part. Our galaxy is a sphere, and they tricked you that their galaxies, like children's stories, are only stars. Our galaxy is surrounded by clouds, like Earth is surrounded by clouds. There are some times that it rains all over the planet. There are clouds that are all over the planet, like it rains even in America, in Vietnam, and in Europe. This much clouds. These clouds are made from hydrogen, oxygen clouds. I've told you that hydrogen is liquid, and they do not produce light. This is why they falsify and said black matter and dark matter. Ordinary matter, mainly hydrogen, oxygen, and other noble gases, and they are sitting in the sphere. In a sphere, and the sphere is voided inside, like this. This is how the solar system was produced. This sphere was a big cloud one day with the speed of light. It was voided inside by they were pulling all the matter, cloud matter, at the bottom of our galaxy, and the planets were suspended, were congealing this cloud, and this has a circulating field like it inside, that came circulating, that they swirl towards the sun and spins the sun like this. In this field, that is a circulating field, the sun sits in all the planet, and this converges in the sun, and the galaxies, I'm telling you, they're like this, in a membrane put at the border of our galaxy in clouds. Imagine many pieces of metals on producing light, because this field, like you put in electric, that's why this is the background microwave radiation. Okay, if you put in a microwave radiation, a bulb will ignite the bulb. If you put a bulb in a microwave, it will ignite the bulb. You understand? So this is the field that ignites the sun and produces the gravity. The field is produced by the clouds of the border of our galaxy. And the galaxies are small stars. Imagine a cloud from Earth Moon cloud, small cloud. You see, this is a spiral one. It is not gravitating, it's not doing anything. It is full of things like this, and it produces light. And in the middle, there's the solar system. The sun is in the middle of this sphere, like this, and these clouds are producing an electromagnetic field like this, full with electromagnetic field, with light and microwave. This field has a quantity per volume, is not empty space, and it slaps the planet to move them, to maintain it, and has a constant, like a wind, a constant force of blowing like wind, like this. This is what Einstein asked himself. What the speed of the connection? If you put this rocket, this above the Earth, what is the speed between the Earth and this? And knowing the speed of light, the old guys, because Newton did not knew. He only said that I know the power of the slapping. This is less harder and this hits you hard at the base. So I'm telling you, it's like this swirling, okay? In this field converge, all the planets, and this field decreases from the planets. This field, it is not produced by the sun, nor by Jupiter, nor by our planet. The planet is like a, okay? So what's the speed of a connection? The speed of light. This is what Einstein only asked himself. So it is field made from light, but not only from light, because the light does not have mass. Light does not have mass. This is what you do not understand, what Einstein made. Einstein made this equation, a Leibniz equation. Kinetic energy 1.5 mass times velocity. Energy equal mass times c squared. Not Newton. He proved wrong Leibniz, not exactly wrong, but see that the speed of light has a mass. That's why he asked himself, this field will hit you like this. This wind is made from light and will hit you with the force on volume. So now if the field is made from light, you know the mass. You understand this? If you understand that everything or the current day is false, and they knew that our galaxy is a sphere, they knew. Copernicus put only the sun in the middle. They falsify everything. They make spiral. They could be another galaxies like this. This is what they're wondering. Okay. So now Einstein said the speed of light is the connection. So the field is made from light. But I'm telling you that it is somehow wrong, because if you do not, you can have movement without mass. Like you have a wave of light like this, a wave of light, and will not hit you with mass. Although it will going to move, it moves like the emissions of energy, has a quantity of energy per volume, but not so like hooks, like you catch a fish. This can catch you like with hooks, light, to bring it in the swirl, but not hitting you with mass. Okay, so but this field Newton, it hits with mass, so it has a mass on quantity, because I believe that lights in the pure manner does not have mass. This is even Einstein wondered himself if light has mass, resting mass. He says that it does not have. So if you have like a mission concentrated, if you know the energy of ondulated field, you know that this speed of connection is the speed of light, and this has a force by volume and the circulating field. This does not bend space. It is already circulating field, or force field made from light. But I'm not believing that it is all in light. That's why, because light does not have mass. So this field has that microwave, electron energy, and electromagnetic is a more complex field. That's why it has a quantity of force per volume. So I've told you, even though it seems strange to you, you see the logic of my video, you understand. I explain to you physics, I explain to you. It is strange to you or not, the lights did not make anything good for this humanity, okay? And we can reach the stars, we can go to the stars. If you know that the stars are in one day with the speed of light, and the light diminishes with distance and will make point in short time, and you cannot put only one day in a mirror with the speed of light. So the back ends of the galaxy, where we are seeing that they are from the Big Bang 13.7 billion years, are in one day with the speed of light. And it is a shame that you believe this, but how can I tell you that you will not be ashamed and that the humanity will progress and go further? If you understand that our galaxy has only one day with the speed of light and surrounded by clouds, you will understand that these planets, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, they are very important. There are 80 satellites of Jupiter, 50 satellites, 2 like asteroid belts. This can be colonized, like we go on the islands. We can go now to the planets. And if you maintain some craziness and some you do not understand, you make irrelevant these planets. But this is the time when we can go, and we can go even to the stars. We can go even to the stars, even though it will take us with our current technology 90 years maybe. But we can. This is how big it is one day with the speed of light. The speed of light you can put it only one day in a mirror. So this sphere has only one day, and solar system is from ancient times in the middle. You falsify everything. In this middle, it is a circuit like goes like in this way, and you falsify everything. And you do not understand exactly. You say that the pure mass produce waves of gravity. You understand? So the mass does produce not the force. The mass produce not the movement. For the movement you have to make a motor somehow. So the gravity is not a motor. It is a force on density or mass at a distance. If you presuppose that every body has some approximately the same density, the same properties. Okay, so I explained to you, you pull the brakes for this humanity, and you are lying with dark energy, black matter, Big Bang, 30 billion years. And you cannot produce a star, how you say, from hydrogen. You cannot fuse hydrogen. There is no science to fuse hydrogen in copper, in iron, in nothing. And you stop this planet to go to the planets, to colonize, like in islands. We can go now to the moon and the planets, even though you can reach Mars in 7 months. It is very important. And by the way, if you understood, they are saying that are from gases. I'm telling you that Neptune and Jupiter are made from water. And I am telling you that the Russian falsified the thermodynamics of the Venus. The Venus planet has not 5,000 degrees at the surface. Does not has ideal condition. And they are lying to you. I'm telling you, we can go to the Venus, to the Mars. Now is the time. And what you are saying, nothing. 30.7 billion years ago, you can look at the Andromeda 200 billion years, and you falsify, you stretch the light does not stretch, it's trigonometrical. You falsify the gravity that the children will not know that you can only beat 9.10 meters per second to go in orbit. You falsify everything, you do not let them to understand nothing. I'm not telling about Leonard Susskind. These were all mistakes, okay? And I'm not accusing nobody, but I'm telling you it's time for us. It's time for you to understand. And I'm not crazy. You were, because you were tricked. If you were tricked, but you must admit now. And nobody will be ashamed. And you will see the wave that will produce on all the planet. And you'll do some good from this planet, okay? So you cannot obtain a black hole. This current science is a black hole, and we can reach the stars. The stars are small, cold. They are put in electromagnetic field made from that background radiation that you are saying that comes from the Big Bang. You cannot. The thermodynamics is a limited function. That background radiation is a micro simple radiation, electronic radiation, produced by some atoms, not found from hydrogen. The microwave is produced by some atoms. The same. You can suppose that this is produced by the same atoms that they are making. You have to have the circulating fields to produce microwave. This microwave plus the electronic radiation and other kinds of light is the cause of gravity. And I'm telling you that you were wrong. But we cannot see the universe. You invented this universe. You invented this. The galaxies are simply stars. In the middle of each galaxy there is a star with clouds of hydrogen and many pieces in it. In the electromagnetic field ignites them like you ignite light if you put it in a microwave oven. And in this way you cannot predict the death of the star, the collapse of the star, the explosion of the star, supernova, big massive black holes, Dark energy, this is the current science. I'm not have something against Leonard Susskind. You meet me, you'll see that I'm friendly. Let's do something good for the humanity. I will teach you why your theory about string theory maybe has some merits, because the atoms are only understood at this hour. And we will talk, you understand. I wanted to use this because nobody found my channel, okay? So that's why I'm with Leonard Susskind, not against the humanity, not against the science. We can reach the planets. A big video, but I explain to you, okay, what it remains to be said. The mass does not produce movement. You see, this is not moving. So the gravity circular field is not produced by mass, it's a force field and is made approximately from light. And Einstein, this is where quantum mechanics, but from maybe another time. Quantum means the movement of light, if the light hits with mass or not. And okay, goodbye, God bless. This is a long video. I don't want something, I don't want money or something. I just want from humanity to understand this, okay? You can lie with distances, with Doppler, with stretching of lights, that you can, and you understand that you are lying yourself. You do not have a coherence, logic coherence. If you listen my video, you understand, and maybe the idea hit you, and you understood that I'm right, okay? And I'm not against anybody, okay? I want just to be friends. Okay, God bless. An hour and something video. Mainly I talk in the beginning, I put for you from Leonard Susskind, okay? Maybe you will visualize like that. The black hole do not exist. That pumpkin does not have power to be ungranated in a circular movement by the swirl you saw. And in the similar manner, the sun does not have power to by mass to ungranate the Pluto of 6 billion kilometers. And if you are lying, you tell me on the paper how the mass has the power to maintain Pluto 6 billion kilometers in orbit. So goodbye, God bless.